Windsor Castle, an imposing structure that stands majestically in Berkshire, UK, is not just a palace and royal residence, it is the stone embodiment of nearly 1,000 years of architectural history and a living testament to British monarchical continuity. The original castle was conceived in the 11th century, immediately after the Norman conquest of England by William the Conqueror, to serve as a stronghold for the new rulers on the outskirts of London and to command a strategically vital area of the River Thames. Since the time of Henry I of England, who reigned from 1100 to 1135, the castle has been continuously inhabited by every British monarch, making it the second oldest continuously occupied royal residence in Europe, surpassed only by the Royal Alcazar of Seville. Like, subscribe and share. Let's begin. The fortress was originally designed on a motte, an artificial mound, and protected by 3 walls surrounding a central mound. Its construction, initially of wood, was gradually replaced with stone. This architectural evolution is evident in every corner, from luxurious rooms such as the state apartments, described by historian Hugh Roberts as a magnificent and unrivaled sequence of rooms widely recognized as the finest and most complete expression of the style of the late Georgian period, to the venerable 15th century St. George's Chapel, which historian John Robinson considers one of the supreme achievements of English Perpendicular Gothic design. The history of Windsor Castle is a narrative of continuous rebuilding and layering. Its medieval core has been continually reshaped to suit the tastes of successive monarchs, making each archaeological intervention an excavation through layers of English history. Reconstruction and restoration work, often triggered by traumatic events such as the devastating fire of 1992, has enabled archaeologists to make subterranean discoveries that alter our understanding of the fortress's early history and military strategy. Getty images explore. The castle stands on a motte, or artificial hill, in the very center of the enclosure. This motte is 15 meters high and constructed of limestone originally excavated from the surrounding moat. The round tower, which rises on this motte, was built upon an earlier 12th century structure. Archaeological investigations, particularly those conducted during renovations and reinforcements, have revealed that the initial construction of the Norman castle was both more complex and more vulnerable than previously thought. For example, excavations have shown that during the reign of Henry I, the fortification suffered a significant collapse, with the southern side of the motte losing about 2 meters in height. This archaeological finding is crucial evidence of the initial fragility of Norman engineering and the need for a swift and costly intervention to replace the old palisade with a stone wall, likely featuring a gatehouse of ashlar masonry, and to encircle the complex with a new stone wall at the base of the motte, thus relieving the pressure. These discoveries beneath the original 11th century wooden castle not only document the fragility of the initial design, but also reveal Henry I's urgency and investment in transforming the wooden bastion into a more robust and secure stone fortification, marking a turning point in the monarchy's architectural history. Windsor Castle's primary function was defensive, designed to serve as a strategic link in the ring of fortifications William I established around London. Its proximity to the River Thames, a vital waterway, and Windsor Forest, a long-established royal hunting ground, made it crucial. The structure was gradually replaced with stone, a process that accelerated under Henry II between 1165 and 1179. Archaeological work and restorations following the fire of 1992 have been key in revealing the extent to which the present structure represents a survival of original elements of the 12th century walls. Inserted within the context of Wyattvilles' last major redevelopment in the 19th century, the discovery of fragments of the 12th century walls has provided tangible evidence of the site's ongoing evolution. The fortress played a vital role in the turbulent 13th century. King John Lackland used it as a base during the negotiations leading up to the signing of Magna Carta in 1215. Furthermore, the castle endured a lengthy siege during the First Barons' War between 1215 and 1217, and was besieged again in 1216 by French and baronial troops. The damage sustained by the fortress during the second siege was promptly repaired by Engelard de Cigogne on behalf of John's successor, Henry III. Between 1216 and 1221, archaeology has confirmed these repairs, revealing the reinforcement of the defences with the reconstruction in stone of the lower keep walls and the construction of 3 new towers: the Touch Tower, the Garter Tower, and the Salisbury Tower. The Curfew Tower, part of the lower enclosure, is one of the oldest surviving structures, dating from the 13th century, with a dungeon and the remains of an ancient gateway, a secret exit for the castle's inhabitants in case of siege. Henry III invested enormous resources in the castle's comfort, constructing a luxurious palace between 1240 and 1263, arranged around a courtyard in the upper enclosure. His interventions were characterized by the religious nature of the rich ornamentation, which constituted one of the pinnacles of English medieval art, although the cost of these additions amounted to £10,000. The result was a functional division within the castle between the more private upper enclosure and the lower enclosure dedicated to displaying the public face of the monarchy. The architectural and expenditure turning point came under the reign of Edward III, who was born in the castle and used it for his purposes of chivalry and displays of power. Between 1350 and 1377, Edward spent £51,000 renovating Windsor Castle, the largest sum of money ever spent by any medieval monarch of England on a single architectural project. This expenditure exceeded by 1.5 times the king's annual income, which was around £30,000. This reconstruction, undertaken by William of Wykeham, aimed to create a fortification that would be a symbol of royal power and chivalry, resulting in an innovative martial architecture of self-aware and muscular aesthetics. Windsor Castle thus became the most expensive secular architectural project of the entire Middle Ages in England. Archaeology following the fire of 1992 confirmed the scale of this undertaking. For example, the 14th century Great Vault, approximately 60 meters long by 9 meters wide, divided into 13 bays, is preserved on the ground floor of the state apartments and is a direct vestige of Edward III's intervention. Similarly, the Lardery Passage, also from the 14th century and beautifully vaulted, is decorated with carvings of royal roses, an element that indicates its construction dates to the reign of Edward III and his effort to create a functional and symbolic palace. Like, subscribe and share. Over the centuries, the castle has been a laboratory of styles, from the Perpendicular Gothic of St. George's Chapel to the Baroque of Charles II and the Rococo of George IV. Windsor's architecture is described by Sir William Whitfield as possessing a certain fictional quality, with a picturesque Gothic design that creates a sense of theatrical scenery. Restoration work has revealed that this architectural fiction is more literal than previously thought. Investigations following the 1992 fire have shown that many Rococo aspects of the modern castle, believed to be 18th century additions transferred from other palaces, are in fact 19th century plaster and wood imitations designed by Geoffrey Wyatville to blend with the original elements. This reveals a common 19th century practice of recreating a stylistic history rather than strictly preserving it, using modern materials and techniques to achieve the desired Regency effect. Even the parts destroyed in the fire of 1992 and rebuilt in the so-called Downesian Gothic, a modern style that features a cold, systematic coherence of modernity stitched within a reinterpretation of the Gothic tradition, such as the new vault of St. George's Hall, which is the largest oak timber structure built since the Middle Ages, are a testament to the ongoing effort to maintain the castle's Gothic appearance. Windsor Castle, therefore, has been not only a witness but a constant actor in English history. The finds beneath its foundations and within its walls have allowed historians and archaeologists to distinguish between layers of authentic history, Henry III and Edward III, and layers of romanticized recreation, George IV and Wyatville, providing a more accurate and nuanced picture of how the monarchy has used this fortress to project its power over a millennium. Today, more than 500 people live and work at the castle, which remains a highly popular tourist attraction, a venue for state visits, and was the favored weekend home, and more recently, the last permanent official residence of Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom, an unbroken symbol of the permanence of the British crown. Windsor Castle is not a historical relic frozen in time. It is a living, vibrant organism that continues to play a central role in the British monarchy and in contemporary UK life. Today, this Norman fortress, whose history spans almost 1,000 years, pulsates with activity. More than 500 people live and work at the castle, sustaining its complex daily operations, from maintaining its medieval architecture to managing its art collections and its diplomatic role. This dual purpose as both a museum and an active royal residence is what makes it such an exceptional destination. Windsor Castle remains a hugely popular tourist attraction, drawing millions of visitors from around the world who seek to experience the majesty of living history. However, its role extends far beyond tourism. Windsor is fundamentally a tool of modern diplomacy and a stage for royal pomp. Throughout the year, it hosts state visits where kings, presidents, and foreign dignitaries are received with historic ceremonies. The vast state apartments and reception rooms serve as the backdrop for banquets and meetings that strengthen international relations, projecting an image of stability and British tradition. For the royal family, and particularly for Queen Elizabeth II, the castle represented something much more intimate. For much of her reign, it was her preferred weekend home. This regular escape from the formalities of London allowed her to combine her official duties with moments of privacy and relaxation, maintaining a personal and constant connection with the place. More recently, however, Windsor assumed an even more significant role. It became the last permanent official residence of Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom. Following the pandemic and due to her age, the Queen made Windsor her primary residence, a change that underscored her comfort and personal connection to the castle until her final days. Her choice to spend her last years there, and ultimately her burial in St. George's Chapel within the castle grounds, sealed its fate with the Queen's personal history. This continuous, millennia-old history enshrines Windsor Castle as an unbroken symbol of the British Crown's enduring power. It has survived civil wars, fires, and dynastic changes, always adapting without losing its essence. The life that unfolds within its walls today, from the guards on duty to the archivists cataloguing, is tangible proof of the monarchy's resilience and continuity. It is truly the oldest inhabited castle in the world, an undeniable testament to British history that continues to write its next chapter. Like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.